Peggy 18.
Let's start our story from Kenneth. He is very positive and unpredictable man. He is also unusual. Golden skin distinguished him from everyone else. He wears blue checkered trousers and a grey fur cardigan that painted his image. His gold watch was such a brilliant, no one in the city could not afford themselves such clothes. He works as a waiter in a very prestigious restaurant. At leisure, often plays PlayStation with friends and do not forget to spend precious time with his wife. Once he went to the supermarket for food. When he was leaving supermarket, he saw a bag of money lying on the ground. To his head came such a dilemma: take this money or not. In the end, he decided to pick it up. And during death, forgets about the groceries. After all this, he goes back to work and starts looking around alarmingly. In the evening, Kenneth gets drunk with a friend at the bar, and suddenly he gets a call from his wife, who called him to home. He leaves the restaurant, and after drinking more than usual, he was going to drive. After a few attempts, he finds the right key. Having drunk, Kenneth is going to drive. Don't worry, it is a Kenneth, and luck is the second name. While driving at high speed, he didn't notice the woman crossing the road and hit her. When Kenneth exits the car, he sees that the woman is dead. He feels horrible for what he has done and runs far away so no one notices him. He gets angry, takes the gun and commits suicide for what he did. And this woman is named Jessica. She is a young, beautiful girl. But there is one thing: she likes to steal. According to Jessica, she cannot live a day without stealing something. Jessica has no friends. She has only a devoted husband who loves her with all heart, but that doesn't care her. One day, after successful theft, she saw something strange. The man running with a bag of money and nobody pursued him. Impulsively, she decided to call the police, even though she had just broke the law. Perhaps you thought that she has changed, but this is not so. Sometime later, she has stolen packages with food lying on the ground. And as we can see, that Jessica did not change a bit. When she came home, she called her beloved husband, knowing that he would certainly answer. Now it's time to talk about John. He's very lazy and he always has different excuses about his work because he doesn't work. He has black hair, modern shoes and dark clothes. He always found easy ways to money by doing robberies. John was sick of the flu and he wanted to drink his pills. During the search of pills, he finds the debts. He was very disappointed about his wife. At first, he didn't want to deal with these problems, but he wanted to solve his wife's issues. He felt sorry for her and he was going to pull his wife out of the problem. All the same, he robbed a bank. In the beginning, everything was fine, but later, John saw that he was followed by a police officer. Out of fear, he threw the bag on the ground and ran away. Nevertheless, his success failed him. Let's move on to Carter, very smiling and friendly girl. Also, her life consists of unusual actions. Often, she falls into different living situations. She's very kind, very kind. She spends all her time at work. Her husband was not working but brought the money. But Carter didn't want to take that money. One day, Carter's friend called her to her home in order to show an interesting game. With great pleasure, Carter came to her home. Over a cup of delicious tea, girlfriend shows her the same game. After seeing Carter interested but did not want to play it, because instead of playing it, it is better to give money to charity. But still, she decided to also join in the process of this game. Comes home and asks her husband for money, which he gives her, of course, because he could not refuse her. After that, they start to go together to beds. One day, when Carter was getting ready for work, to her came an envelope with her debts, which she immediately hides. Later, she writes a message to a friend and they start to swear. So, what about Haley? She has a very difficult life. She has no friends, walks on her own and communicates with the only friend she has. And here, sitting in the park, she remembers her childhood. As a baby, her parents left her on the street. Because of this cruel fate, she was thinking to commit suicide, but in the end changed her mind. Towards the evening, she writes a message to the same friend and calls her to her home. Even earlier, Haley was addicted to gambling, and for a cup of tea, she encourages her friend to play this game too. After that, she regularly visits bets with her in order to earn easy money. One day, Haley receives a message from a friend who was mad at her. Later, they have a conflict. Her face full of sadness as she lost her only friend. Haley is run over accidentally by a car when she was crossing the road in the evening, and that is how her life ends. And what do we see from all of this? Let's conclude. If Haley hadn't offered Carter a poker game, Carter would not have debts. If she hadn't been in debts, John wouldn't have robbed the bank. If John hadn't robbed the bank, Jessica wouldn't have called the police. If Jessica hadn't called the police, John wouldn't have dropped the money. If John hadn't dropped the money, Kenneth would never have found it. If Kenneth hadn't found that money, he would not have been drunk and driving drunk. If Kenneth hadn't been driving drunk, he wouldn't have hit Haley. If she was hurt, Kenneth did not kill himself. I think I almost understood. All inhabitants of this world are connected with each other in common. Life is like a boomerang. You run it and then it comes back to you. Same goes for us. If we run a metal boomerang, he will hit one man, and this man too will run the boomerang, and once it touches someone, it will continue until we all hurt.
We were in love with the sun. We were in love with the sun, sipping on coke and rum. My head up in the clouds, but when I look back now, ain't nothing else I would do. When I spent the summer on you, our troubles all on the rocks. Our troubles all on the rocks, filling our plastic cups. Down by the riverside, we spent those long hot nights until the sky turned blue. When I spent the summer on you.